Barry used to say, okay, we're going to do a functional clench. We're going to show on the EMG your functional clench. And I'd say, parafunctional clench, you moron. And then I started redoing my slides. And everything I've ever done, I draw the picture first. And as I draw the picture, I realized I'm showing these molars contacting on this one side. That means, and I'm showing the lateral pterygoid pull of mandible, you know. And I realized when I have the interference on the opposite side, it's because the temporalis is contracting. I have to color in this arrow red. I go, it's everything I draw. If I have to show occluding or occlusion or interference or something, an elevator has to have a red arrow every single time. The whole thing is a stipulation of persistence of elevation. So when Barry says functional clench, no, parafunctional clench. So I'm redoing my slides and I get to that part where purposeful function obligates necessary form. This is, we have the ability to do this. Why in the world do you have the ability to clench with that much ferocity? Why? How come we can do it? Because if you're going to chew food, you do it at about 30% of capacity. You don't have to chew much harder than that, otherwise it's too hard anyway. How come we can do that? It has to do with that tooth right there, that canine tooth. We talked about circuitry completion. In the mammal world, if you're a carnivore, you're going to eat other animals that are still alive. You've got to hold them still. So you have long canine teeth. And your canine teeth are matched with a temporalis. The larger the canine teeth are, the more massive the temporalis is. And so when you are a tiger and you're approaching your lunch and it's a water buffalo and he doesn't see you coming, you sneak it up and you bite him. And then you squeeze as hard as you can. You want to say it or should I say it? The water buffaloes, they hate this part. And they try to get away. So you squeeze harder. The heart is, no matter how hard they pull, they do not rip your canine tooth out of your skull because there's a lot of lateral force pulling on the canine. Well, because the roots of your canines are so long, there's a reason for that. They resist lateral force. They're designed for vertical pressure. That's what they're made to do. They're made to grasp, squeeze, and hold. We've borrowed the canine in Canine Rise. When you close together and you go sideways, you can push as hard as you want, canine versus canine. Doesn't even feel it because those roots are real long and they're built to take lateral strain. They don't care. You squeeze vertically through canine teeth, you can't even feel that. Sometimes you grab something, you bite, and you pull on it. Where do you do it? Do you do it here in your front? No. Do you do it on your molar? That's weird. Your canine are built for it. You have the ability to squeeze on things really, really hard if you need to for a little bit, and then you're done. Now, if you're going to eat a live animal, you need much bigger canine teeth. But dentistry's been borrowing this canine to use it to separate molars as the patient moves sideways while still elevated, because it can, so we use it. We panic if they've had a canine extracted on one side. What are you going to do? How do I get immediate posterior disclusion? Well, maybe they don't clench. Who cares? There's a lot of guys without canines maybe. They don't have a problem, but we need it because we think it might be that patient. They might be that intense parafunction. I got to have a canine tooth. What if he goes to the side? An herbivore has a big arcade of molars and then big masseters, and they go side to side to side, and molar and masseters and medial pterygoids are designed to do that. Temporalises are designed to pull straight up. You can squeeze on something for a long, long time, and sometimes it's life or death. You will hold on as long as you need to. A masseter doesn't work that way. If you have someone start to clench and just keep squeezing, just go, 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 go. I said, oh, okay, sore. Shut up. Keep squeezing. Okay. Keep going. Okay. How's your jaw? Oh, it feels better now. I'm getting sore here. A temporalis will go and go and go. And a masseter after a while says, forget it. Masseters are for chewing stuff, for short bursts of activity. It's like the sprinters of mastication. And a canine tooth will squeeze as long as it takes until your meal is dead. Has anyone who complains of clenching headaches wake up in the morning and say, I've been clenching my jaw so I have such a headache? I mean, long-term primary clenchers are always doing this. Well, you clench for a long time after a while, the master said, forget it, I'm done. So when you look at a functional trace, a masticatory trace, where that yellow dot represents what Barry will show tomorrow, there's a little magnet right there. And this big contraption around your head traces the movement of that magnet. And so when someone chews food, their mandible opens and they swing off to the side as their mandible elevates, because usually the bolus is on one side. And so you scoot over a teeny tiny little bit, and that's the working motion as you elevate in this masticatory trace. Well, what the heck's this? For some goofy reason, they say, okay, now, grind your teeth as far to the side. Okay, grind. And pretty soon, you keep going, your teeth start to separate. And they say, oh, keep opening. Okay. I'll cut it to here. I'll go the other way. To your touch. I'll grind like this. There it is. Well, that's real nice and everything, but that's where you're going to chew food. We'll talk about that line in a second. So you look at your functional occlusion. No, that's your parafunctional movement where your teeth are still occluding. The next couple of images here is going to be part of the TM Da Vinci code here. When we talk about working and non-working movements and what those really indicate what's going on. If you ask a dentist right now, let me see left working movement. What do you do? What do you do what you're doing? You go start, you go, okay, ready? There. Okay, here's non-working. No. This movement is made up of straight down vertical opening as you look this way. These two lateral pterygoids are going to contract and advance the condyles as the digastric pulls the chin down and back. If the bolus is going to be over here, the masseter on the side of the bolus, on the working side now, and the medial pterygoid on the other side are not coincidentally parallel. They're supposed to be that way because this mandible is going to shift ever so tiny to go to the working side where the target is. So when the bolus is here, masseter and medial pterygoid, and so masseter, medial pterygoid, they're going to elevate this way, or they elevate that way on the opposite side. So now this working movement is towards the target, towards the bolus. It's the slight little tiny swing to the side. It's that to the side portion that has been blended into parafunction, and we totally misrepresented what we're talking about when you say working movement. The lateral pterygoid was not contracting to get the mandible over to the working side. The work is where the bolus, the resistance is. When we were talking about show me your working movement, we'd go like this and grind, and we took a lateral pterygoid and moved our jaw to the side. The sideways movement in true functional work is a function of the medial pterygoid and the masseters. It shifts the jaw ever so slightly. You don't really move over very far. This is really sort of an expansion of the arc. It's pretty tight, right? It's not way over there. Otherwise, you're going to crossbite. You don't do that. So when we talk about working movements, so that's really a parafunctional shift to the side when someone grinds for us in the chair. So we're taking the word work as if it was they call functional working movement. It's a parafunctional act when you have someone do that.